Of all the directors who emerged from the French New Wave, Jacques Rivette is the most elusive and enigmatic, and some have argued the most consistently innovative. He's never been a media figure or a counterculture hero like Jean-Luc Godard. He's never had mainstream hits like François Truffaut or Claude Chabrol. He's never even been part of that well-loved mainstream art house canon like Éric Rohmer. Rivette has had his significant cult successes, notably his 1974 film Céline and Julie Go Boating, but he's never been a director you could easily pin down or categorise. He's someone who's interested in different types of cinema and in setting new challenges with each film, new challenges to himself, to his cast and crew, and to his audience. All these traits have tended to set Rivette far outside the mainstream, even outside the art house mainstream, if there is any such thing. A reclusive figure, Rivette is also an obsessive cinema goer. He said, "I see a lot of movies and I don't stay away from anything." He has very diverse taste, the classical canon, but he's also put up spirited defences even of such much reviled films as Paul Verhoeven's Showgirls. Born in Rouen in 1928, Rivette started a literary degree in his hometown but never completed it. Instead, he came to Paris in 1949 and absolutely immersed himself in cinema and never looked back. His passion for cinema, he claimed, was sparked by reading Jean Cocteau's notes on the shooting of his film La Belle et la Bête, a book which Rivette read so many times that he said he ended up knowing it by heart. In Paris, he became one of that group of Cinematheque regulars, along with Godard, Chabrol, Truffaut and Rohmer, who also became identified with the journal Cahiers du Cinéma, a journal that Rivette edited in the early 60s. There he became a celebrated critic, writing on the American canon, Hitchcock, Lang, Ray, etc., espousing the rigorous virtues of Fritz Lang, writing a famous essay on Rossellini as well. He also worked as assistant director to Jacques Becker and to the French filmmaker who more than anyone else became the great patron and model of the Nouvelle Vague, Jean Renoir. After making 4 shorts, one of which, Le Coup du Berger, is still viewable today, Rivette was the first Nouvelle Vague director to start work on a feature, Paris nous appartient, in 1957, but he made the film over 2 years piecemeal, with borrowed stock, with encouragement from Chabrol and others, and by the time the film was released in 1960, the limelight had already been stolen by Godard's À bout de souffle and Truffaut's Les 400 coups. That rather left Rivette in the shade, and in a way he's continued to be in the shade since then, partly by choice and through his insistence on taking on difficult, uncategorizable projects. Yet he has remarkable staying power, like his surviving Nouvelle Vague contemporaries, Godard, Chabrol and Rohmer, and like their contemporaries Alain Resnais and Agnès Varda, he's still active today, and at this very moment, summer 2006, he's working on his latest feature. He's nowhere near as prolific as Godard and Chabrol, but he still makes films regularly, and each one couldn't be by anyone but him. The films are of remarkable variety. He's tried literary adaptations, versions of Wuthering Heights and Diderot's The Nun, and stark historical dramas, a 2-part version of the life of Joan of Arc. He's experimented with assorted genres, thriller, ghost story, even a musical. He's made other, more radically experimental films that defy categorization entirely. Duel is a stylized melodrama with mythical and comic book elements about 2 goddesses who come to Earth in search of a mythical diamond. Norrois is part pirate adventure, part Jacobean drama. He's also made one of cinema's most extraordinary contemplations of art and the relationship between the painter and the model, La Belle Noiseuse. Perhaps Rivette's most specific interest is in theatre, and its difference from, similarity to film, the different demands that theatre and cinema make on its participants and on the audience. If some of his films are unusually long, 3-4 hours, in the case of his Out One, nearly 13 hours long, it's because Rivette wants to use duration in a particular way. He uses duration to make film-going a more active experience, to make us aware of being in the cinema, of seeing it through. Rivette is fascinated with cinema less as finished product than as process, and in this way many of his films show a fascination with the open-endedness of theatrical production and performance. In his first feature, Paris nous appartient, much of the plot hinges on one of the characters' attempts to stage a production of Shakespeare's Pericles, and somehow we feel that the entire fate of the world hinges on its success or failure. The production turns out to be doomed, yet some of the actors soldier on at the end. Rivette's open endings send us out of the cinema with no sense of easy resolution, but they make us aware that cinema and theatre, and indeed real life itself, are processes that go on, that can't easily be wrapped up with fake closure. The plays in Rivette's films are never stylised, detached, complete products, and the actors are real people caught up in the messy dynamics of real life. But by the same token, real life itself becomes a sprawling, free-form drama without clearly identifiable beginning or end. Rivette's Paris becomes a vast stage on which multiple mysterious dramas are forever played out, without most of its population being quite aware of them. As witness the bemused reactions of the many passers-by who happen to be near Rivette's camera when some of his more enigmatic scenes are taking place. In Rivette's films, all the world is indeed a stage, as well as a cinema screen. But where in Godard sometimes you get the impression that for him there isn't anything in the world except cinema, Rivette really is interested in cinema and in the real world as well. He's an obsessive cinema goer, but at the same time you get the impression that making films is for him a chance to get out of the cinema and into the real world, into the open air and working with people.